Namaskaram, everyone. We saw in the previous recording how Vyasa was inspired by sage Narada to compose the great Bhagavata Purana, and Vyasa, closing his eyes, went into a deep trance. We now move into a completely different phase of the Bhagavatam, the end which was the beginning. The context moves to the war of Mahabharata, of Kurukshetra. It was the last day of the great war on the field of Kurukshetra. The sun had set long ago. Near Samanta Panchaka lay the Kaurava monarch Duryodhana with his eye broken by Bhima. He was dying. And to his presence came Ashwathama, the son of Drona. His anger knew no bounds when he saw how unjustly Duryodhana had been hit. Ashwathama took an oath that he would revenge the killing of his king by destroying all the Pandavas. The entire Kaurava army had been annihilated. Only 3 were alive, bearing the dying Duryodhana. They were Kripa, Kritavarma, the son of Hardika, and Ashwathama. That night, when everyone was asleep, Ashwathama hurried to the Pandava camp. He did not find the Pandavas, but their 5 sons were there sleeping. Drishtadyumna and his brothers were in the camp too. The angry Brahmin son, Ashwathama, killed all of them, the 5 sons of Draupadi and all her brothers. He then set fire to the camp and went away. The king, when he was told about this, was not happy. The act of his friend Ashwathama was too terrible. Early in the morning, the news reached the Pandavas. Draupadi was horror-stricken. In one night, she had lost her sons and her brothers. She saw their dead forms and her voice was harsh with pain as she lamented their death. Seeing her tear-stained face and anguished eyes, Arjuna tried to comfort her. He said, "O Queen, you will not weep for long. I will avenge the death of the children. I will bring the head of that sinner and lay it at your feet. He will not be able to escape me and the arrows from my dreadful Gandiva. I will seek him out and kill him." Arjuna hurried to the chariot and Krishna was once again his charioteer. They saw Ashwathama running fast to escape from Arjuna. Seeing the angry cloud on Arjuna's brow, the son of Drona tried to run as fast as he could. But Arjuna was like an avenging fury, and Ashwathama could do nothing. His horses were not fast enough to carry him away from the spot. In despair, he thought of saving his life using the great Astra Brahmashirsha. He touched water, and after invoking the Astra, he spoke the words, "Let the world be Pandavalis," and sent it towards Arjuna. The skies were filled with the glow and heat of the Astra. A fear overcame Arjuna and he said, Krishna, Krishna, what is happening? Why is my frame burning so? I feel that a dreadful fire is traveling towards me and I do not know what it is, nor can I find a way of escaping its fury. Tell me what I should do." With a grim look, Krishna said, "Arjuna, the son of your guru has thought fit to hurl the great Brahmashirsha at you. Do not look horrified. I know that Drona has told you how terrible it is. And I dare say he has told you and his son the same too. But Ashwathama evidently has no thought of the consequences of this dastardly action. Apparently, he desires to destroy the entire world. Make up your mind soon, Arjuna, and invoke the same Astra. This is the only way you can quench the fury of this approaching fire. Arjuna saluted the presiding deity of the Astra and invoked it. When the two fires were traveling towards each other, it seemed like the end of the world had come. The rishis from the heavens hurried towards the spot and they said, "Withdraw the Astra, both of you, or else the world will get destroyed. The two fires should not meet. Hurry and avert the calamity." Arjuna obeyed the rishis immediately and withdrew his Astra. Ashwatthama could not. When he learnt the invocation from his father, he had been warned about the dreadful power of the Astra. Not bothering to remember the warning, he had sent it against Arjuna. The sins he had committed had robbed him of his purity and his Brahmanic tejas, and he was powerless against his own Astra. Lest it should consume him, he aimed it at all the unborn children of the Pandavas, and thus thought of making the world Pandavaless. After withdrawing the Astra, Arjuna rushed towards Ashwatthama. Tying him up with a rope, Arjuna dragged him like a cow meant for sacrifice. Krishna's eyes were spitting fire. He said, "Arjuna, this is the man who has committed the gravest of sins, killing of children while they were sleeping. It is not right that you should have mercy on him. You must kill him without a qualm. I do not have to remind you of the rules of fighting. A man well versed in them will not kill an enemy who is drunk, who is careless about his safety, who has lost his wits, who is not trying to fight back, who is sleeping, who has fallen at your feet asking for mercy, who is defeated and who is frightened. These are the niyamas of the war. But the sinner who saves himself by killing ruthlessly thousands of other lives must not be punished only by death." And again, Arjuna, have you forgotten your promise so soon? I was listening when you told Draupadi, "I will lay at your feet the head of that man who killed your sons." You swore to do it. Why do you delay? Kill this man. Arjuna would not do so. In spite of the great provocation, he remembered that Ashwatthama was his playmate of old times, that he was the son of his guru Drona. Drona had loved Arjuna even more than he loved Ashwatthama. Arjuna was unwilling to kill the son of his guru, who was like a brother to him. He took him to the presence of Draupadi and other Pandavas. He said, "Look, my queen, look at this sinner who is standing before you. His eyes are bent on the ground, since he dare not look you in the face. Tell me what I should do with him and I will do it." Draupadi's grief at the loss of her children would ever be fresh in her mind. Also the fact that Ashwatthama killed them. But her anger had abated. She was overcome with passion for Ashwatthama. She was overcome with compassion for Ashwatthama, and she said, "Arjuna, please release him at once from these coils. I cannot bear to see the son of your guru bound like this. Drona was the guru who taught you archery, and his son is a brother to you. That pious woman Kripi has not joined her lord on the funeral pyre because her son is alive. If you kill him now, she will suffer the pain of losing her only child. I do not want her to suffer like me. Let him go his way. Please release Ashwatthama." Yudhishthira, Arjuna, as well as the twins were pleased with the words of their queen. Bhima was the only one whose anger had not evaporated at the sight of Ashwatthama. He was for killing him. Krishna smiled and said, Arjuna, you are caught on the horns of a dilemma. Either you displease Draupadi and others, killing Ashwatthama, or you incur the wrath of your beloved brother Bhima by letting the sinner live. Do what you think is fit under the circumstances. Try and see how you can please them all. Arjuna looked at all of them. Krishna was standing with his arms locked together across his chest, and there was an inscrutable expression on his face. Yudhishthira and others were looking sad and uncomfortable. Bhima was glowering angrily at the prisoner, Ashwatthama. After a long moment, Arjuna thought he understood what Krishna was trying to tell him. After all, wasn't Arjuna the most apt Shishya, student, disciple of Krishna? He took up his sword and cut off the jewel on the head of Ashwatthama. Stripped of the glow of the jewel, which had been part of him, stripped of his Brahmanic tejas, impure because of Shishuhatya, Ashwatthama stood in their midst. Arjuna undid the ropes which bound him and said, Now you can go. Cutting off the hair of a Brahmin, taking away the wealth that belongs to him, and ordering him to leave your presence, each one of them in itself is like killing a Brahmin. And Arjuna had done it all. To Ashwatthama, who was jealous of his honor, this treatment at the hands of Arjuna was worse than death. With his eyes bent on the ground, he dragged his steps away from the presence of the Pandavas and went far away from there. Dear listeners, it is important to understand here how Arjuna could take the cues from Krishna when he said that he should not spare Ashwatthama. As a great student deserves a great teacher, and as a student of a great teacher, one reads beyond the evident words of the teacher to the subtleties of truth and dharma. One is able to see what his guru, his teacher, is truly conveying to him. Such a student was Arjuna, who was aware, who was alert, who was awakened to the words of Krishna, and who could read between the lines to understand the deeper meaning and matter that Krishna was pointing towards.